Hey guys, YouTuber100 here. Alright, now here I am to finish off these reviews for the sequels to what I had in the list last year for the top 10 best live action Disney films. With a review of the final sequel, which is Savage Sam. So, yeah, this is a sequel to Old Yeller, though it is a very loose sequel. So yeah, a lot of you probably weren't even thinking of this film when I was talking about the sequels for all these sequels that I was going to review. Yeah, because yeah, this really is not a very popular sequel. I mean, really nobody really talks about this film. And in fact, I didn't even know that this movie existed until I was like 11 or 12 years old. So, yeah, and yeah, I watched Old Yeller like a ton of times growing up, so yeah, I had no idea that it had a sequel. So, yeah, and even today, still, a lot of people probably still don't even know that this film even exists. And you've probably never even heard of this film. And yeah, this really was not a very popular film. And this film really was just not very popular. And yeah, it didn't really do so well either. Because yeah, it's not really hard to see why, really. I mean, seriously, I mean this is really a sequel to Old Yeller because really, just watching this film, I mean, it's really confusing to see why they even made this. Why is this does this film even exist? I mean, why did they actually do this, and why does it even act as a sequel to Old Yeller? Because yeah, there really is it really has no sort of connection to Old Yeller at all, really. So yeah, my review for Old Yeller will be in the description if you want to watch it. And so yeah, and really, how does this film even act as a sequel to Old Yeller? I mean, you do have a few recurrent characters back. Like you still have Travis and Arliss in this film, and it still has Tommy Kirk and Kevin Corcoran reprising their roles. And yeah, the parents in this film, they're not in this film. Like it's said that in this film, the parents are in San Antonio taking care of Travis and Arliss's sick grandma. So yeah, they're not in this film at all. And in this film, it shows there's Travis and Arliss's uncle back there, and so yeah, he's a character in this film, played by Brian Keith. And you also have a Mr. Searcy back in this film, still played by Jeff York. For some, but for some reason, Lisbeth is back in this film too. And for some reason, they recast Lisbeth in this film. So yeah, I'm not really sure why they ended up recasting Elizabeth. So yeah, I really don't understand that. And yeah, just this really just is a. I just found this film really really confusing. Really, not not just because I didn't see how this really acted as a sequel to Old Yeller, but just because it's just real strange. I mean, if you, especially knowing that this is set after Old Yeller, I'm not really sure. I think this film is set probably around maybe around 5 years maybe after the events of Old Yeller. And yeah, in this film, it shows of course by the title, there's a new dog, a Savage Sam, who's Arliss's dog, and just where did this Savage Sam dog even come from? It's never even actually shown how they actually did just find Savage Sam and how he really did become Arliss's dog. What happened to the young Yeller at the end of Old Yeller? Because yeah, at the very end of Old Yeller, it showed that Travis now took care in the puppy, and yeah, it ended with showing that the pup was now all grown up and basically another Yeller. So yeah, and it just got me wondering why didn't they make a sequel about the new Yeller, young Yeller, and and why did they go down this route? Now, of course, this film, just like Old Yeller, this film was based on a book by Fred Gibson. Fred Gibson did actually write a Savage Sam book, which was a sequel to Old Yeller. So yeah, I guess I've never actually read that book, so I don't really know if this is a totally accurate portrayal of Savage Sam, because I remember like the Old Yeller book, like there were actually some differences between the Old Yeller book and the movie. So I'm not really sure like what this film does differently from the book at all, because yeah, I've never even read the book, and so yeah, I really don't even know like really much about this story at all. And I just really didn't understand the story because like it's just confusing because like yeah, where did like the Savage Sam come from? Why wasn't there any mention of like Travis and Arliss's Uncle Beck in the first film? And just shown that in this film like there's engines and they end up like um invading the area, and then like they eventually end up taking Travis, Arliss, and Elizabeth captive, and just like where did this come from? Like the story is just like so confusing. Like why are these engines even taking them captive? Like it's not like something in Pocahontas where like when they took John Smith as prisoner, it was because he was suspected of killing Kocoum, and so then they took him captive for that. But yeah, in here, like Travis, Arliss, and Elizabeth don't even do anything at all. So why did the Injuns even like take them captive in the first place? So yeah, it just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And yeah, this story is just like so padded. Like where did this Savage Sam stuff I don't understand because where'd he come from and what happened to the young Yeller? What's with this Uncle Beck and this story with the Indians taking them captive? Like where there was not even any mention of like any Indians at all in Old Yeller, so I didn't even think that like at this point like the like engines were even around anymore. So yeah, I just really don't know like what is up with all this stuff. Like this just is such a patent story and it's so confusing and just it is just like oh I don't it doesn't really make sense at all. And so yeah, and in this film like we also get like some like a real awkward romance between Travis and Elizabeth. Like they're really like I guess like in Old Yeller, there was like showing like some signs that Elizabeth did like Travis, but yeah, there wasn't any actual like romance. And it's like budding between them. But here, like we really do get romance and stuff, and it's just like really awkward. Like it's just like they're talking to each other and stuff. Basically, like they might as well just like say "I love you" to each other. That's just how awkward it is, and we don't actually ever see them share a kiss with each other, or they don't ever like declare their love for each other or anything. But yeah, you can so tell that they are, and it's just so awkward seeing them like constantly like talk with each other and stuff. It just like is such an awkward romance, really. And yeah, and in this film you also like, oh gosh, Savage Sam like he is like really annoying in this film. Like as like the engines like take Travis, Arliss, and Elizabeth captive, like it's showing that Sam's like following the trail to find them, and like it's just like every time like we see Savage Sam running in this film, we always hear the him just bailing and stuff. Just wailing all the time, just like we hear that in like every single part that he's in, and I just got so annoyed with that I just had to mute the movie like anytime that happened. It was just like every single scene that he was in, like I just heard the constant. It just I hated it. Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, I really just don't know like how much I can really say about this because there's really not a whole lot to say about it. And so I just really don't know like in this film, like the stuff with like Sam, like it's shown that he's pretty much like a fighter, like Yeller was, and yeah, whenever like we hear like Sam fighting, like they reuse like some of the growling noises and stuff from Old Yellers, and that's something that I noticed, and yeah, it's just like such a yeah, it just like doesn't seem like it was like really well put together at all. I guess like since like the first film really did like as well as it did, Walt Disney wanted to try to like do another famous Fred Gibson book, and that acted as the sequel to Old Yeller book. He wanted to try to do the same thing, like making another adaptation of Fred Gibson's sequel book, but it just really didn't turn out very well at all. And I just really did not understand like what sort of connections that this really did have with Old Yeller at all. I mean, even then, I mean, like, there's barely any mention of Old Yeller whatsoever in this film. Like, the only time like I actually did hear like them ever talking about Yeller, it was like at a point where like, uh, after the Indians did capture Travis, Arliss, and Elizabeth, like at one point like they're given like some meat to eat, and they figured it was horse meat. Then like Arliss thought that the Indians actually killed Jumper, and it was meat from Jumper that they were eating. And then Arliss was just like trying to reminisce of like memories of Jumper, and he does like bring up when uh Travis and Yeller got attacked by the hogs, and Jumper did like take them home. Like that's like the only mention of Old Yeller that I heard in this film at all. And just I mean seriously, it's a sequel to Old Yeller, yet there's no mention of Yeller. The pup's not in it, and just like where did Sam come from? So yeah, I know I keep saying the same stuff over and over again, but really like that's all I can really talk about about this film, because yeah, this story just really doesn't make sense. It's really boring, honestly. It just really is not nearly as intriguing as Old Yeller was. I mean, Old Yeller was like it was like such a perfect film. I mean, like I was saying, I mean, it was one of Disney's best works ever, and I did place it at number one on the list. So yeah, I really do like how Old Yeller in a high regard, but yeah, this is honestly like a pretty poor way to follow up on Old Yeller. So I just really like there's not really a whole lot I can say about it. I mean, I really don't know like what the star rating I would give this would be. It probably wouldn't be any higher than 2 stars really. I mean, yeah, you'll see what I have down in the description, the rating that I give this film, but I just really don't know like what I can really give it. So yeah, it just really is like it's such a padded story, and like it just it's like so goofy at times, and just it really just doesn't make sense, and it's just I just really don't know what to say about it really. Yeah, so yeah, I just really like can't really add too much more to this and stuff like the stuff between Travis and Elizabeth. It's just an awkward romance, and I mean. The characters that they do add in just seem pretty pointless. I mean, the uncle really just is like he just seemed like a pointless character, and plus like I was saying earlier, there was not even any mention of the uncle at all in Old Yeller. So yeah, I mean, did he go with the father on that trip to Kansas? Just because I mean, since he wasn't there at all, and so yeah, I just really have so many questions about the uncle. I mean, where did he come from and stuff? Yeah, yeah, and plus, like as a, it shows that the uncle, Mr. Searcy, and some other uh, cavalry members, like come like after Travis got abandoned by the Indians, like the cavalry came and they rescued Travis, and they continued to search for Arliss and Elizabeth, and that stuff just seemed to go on forever, and it just really didn't get anywhere, and it was just like really boring to watch. So yeah, that was like really boring, and yeah, it just really just yeah, the story there really was not like any like really like intense scenes like there were in Old Yeller. Like all the animal fights that we got in Old Yeller, like we don't really get stuff like that in this film. Like it shows that Sam is fighting like some bobcats and wolves and stuff, but it just really like it just yeah we really don't get a good look at it, and it's just like really like not as intense as like the fights that we had in Old Yeller. Like Old Yeller like fought like a bear and a wolf and hogs and all that, and those were like really intense scenes. But here we it just really doesn't have that same feel with Sam in his fights. So yeah, it just yeah, this stuff just like it doesn't do anything nearly as great as Old Yeller did. So yeah, this is just like a really forgetful film. Really, I mean, it's not recommended, and I really, it's not really hard to see why. Like this film really just doesn't get talked about, and why I don't think a lot of people really do remember it. It's just so forgettable. It's not really worth a watch. I mean, I really haven't watched this film that much. I mean, when I first heard about this film, I looked forward and I watched it. But even then, I just like felt like I really like wasn't gonna watch it again, and then I just did rewatch it to make this review. But yeah, after this, I'm probably like never gonna ever gonna watch this film again. I'm probably just gonna. No, not probably. I am. I am definitely just gonna stick to Old Yeller. I've watched Old Yeller so many times, and I will still watch it like many more times in the future. But this, no. I really just feel like this was a really pointless film to be made. Really, especially since it has like little to no continuation from Old Yeller at all, and just Old Yeller like ended so perfectly. That's how I want to remember how this whole story ends, and this really just doesn't act as another continuation or yeah no a follow up story to Old Yeller. I really just don't want to have any memory of this film really. I just want to remember Old Yeller and that's it. So yeah, that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, just not a recommended movie at all. Very forgettable and not worth a watch. All right, so yeah, so yeah, that's all I really have to say about Savage Sam. So yeah, I'm sorry that I had to end the reviews with this, but yeah, this just was the best way I could really talk about this film because there's really not a whole lot to talk about really. So I'm sorry that it's ending on a review like this, but I just can't help it. I'm sorry. So, yeah, alright, so yeah, that does it for my review of Savage Sam. And so, yeah, and this does it for my reviews for the sequels to the films I had in last year's countdown and these Disney reviews that I've done this month. So, yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy these Disney reviews and stay tuned because, like I've told you guys before, I do have something planned for July, which I will announce in a few days. But yeah, until then, I'll probably still try to make like a couple of like different videos and just like make a couple videos on like some a couple things that I wanted to talk about until I actually do get to my plans for July. So yeah, but so I hope you guys did enjoy these reviews. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.